major stories. Good evening again. I am Joel Crosskill. There has been another extension of the states of public emergency. The government had initially called for a 90-day extension. However, the opposition only supported 30 days. There are presently 6 across the island, with St. Andrews South set to expire on January 4, 2020. The Clarendon and St. Catherine SOEs will end January 18, while those in the western end, St. James, Westmoreland and Hanover, will expire January 27. There are 2 zones of special operations, Mount Salem, St. James and Denham Town, Kingston. 42 members of Parliament voted for the continuation of the emergency measure. The opposition leader, Dr. Peter Phillips, is however calling for what he says is more efficient use of the security resources. He says there needs to be greater focus on modernizing and improving intelligence gathering, and says there remains the need for a National Intelligence Gathering Act. Dr. Phillips says kingpins need to be identified and removed in a sustained way. An increase in police presence is apparently not enough to deter criminals from pouncing on unsuspecting victims. However, the Corporate Communications Unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force says it remains resilient in ensuring a safer environment for citizens. Khadija Thomas tells us more in this report.
It was here in this plaza that a woman reportedly became a victim of larceny recently. Reports stated that she was near her car when a man attacked her with a knife and took her bag, which had money just withdrawn from the bank. Citizens reportedly were unaware that the woman was being robbed, but note that such acts happen regularly and frequently.
There's nobody to really assist the public, because some police they up, so some, you know, them do it like one time. You put even 5 police at Tropical Plaza, 5 over Twin Gate, and next amount, you know, make them station one place.
While many business owners did not wish to comment on the matter, some shared that planned policing is necessary to curb and control crime.
In a way, I'm a little bit relieved, but you can't really put too much on the police. Citizens have to come together in order for this thing work too. You can't expect the police to do everything.
Since October of this year, police officers have been out in their numbers across several parishes. Notably in the corporate area, they are seen conducting random searches.
We have our strategy well lined up, so there's the operational activities, the increase in police presence in some areas, very deliberate, because we tend to know where the problems occur. So we want to put the police out there because we know that having police in certain areas is very effective and it's also reassuring.
She, however, notes that citizens must be more aware of their surroundings and take the necessary precautions when conducting business.
We expect persons to go out there and to feel somewhat safe. We know that even as we plan, the criminals are also putting out their plan of how to attack citizens and how to deprive them of their properties. So we see every time we implement a strategy, they change how they operate, but we're on top of those.
Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.
Has political tribalism stunted Jamaica's democracy and growth? And how can the nation overcome the issue? Last night's panel discussion examined the problem. Here is Christine Forbes.
Jamaica's homicide rate among the highest in the world. Its effect on politics has not gone unnoticed. Some believe that political violence has plunged the country into a spiral of no recovery. Youth advocate Montel Hill says political tribalism is really about people being loyal to a specific party among the highest in the world. Its effect on politics has gone unnoticed. Some believe that political violence has plunged the country into a spiral of no recovery. Youth advocate Montel Hill says political tribalism is really about people being loyal to a specific party without good reasoning.
We assess political tribalism, the most dominant and ugly part of political tribalism in Jamaica was in the 70s. In the 70s, when there was a lot of social struggles, when there were a lot of fight for socioeconomic conditions got worse, there was 2 different political philosophies that were struggling, and the society was sort of indecisive as to what philosophy to embrace.
Dr. Henley Morgan says the issue of political tribalism is man-made and should not be considered normal.
It does hamper development, and I do believe, like all things, it has evolved over time, although there are still these physical enclaves we refer to as political garrisons, but it's now on the inside. So therefore, in my humble opinion, political parties are to an extent becoming almost occultist in their behavior.
But Hill argues that it's just a part of politics.
Once you have democracy within a society, you're going to have tribes. And tribe in the context that you have one side and you have the other side. You have government and opposition. And there are various persons within the society that will support the philosophy of one party versus the other party. It is when we misunderstand and we are not able to channel those philosophies in a respectable manner that we end up with the type of society that we see now, when we are not educated enough in order to make responsible decisions about politics.
He went on to say education is the only tool that can be used effectively to encourage responsible political decisions among Jamaicans. Christine Forbes, CVM Live.
There's a decline in local agricultural research. That's according to President of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, JAS, Lenworth Fulton. However, the cultivation of one of Jamaica's most popular crops is now being examined as a healing source and is believed to be the cause for the high levels of twin births in a town in West Africa. Robian Williams went to the Coronation Market in downtown Kingston and files this report.
A group of scientific researchers locally and internationally have all joined forces on a project which will see farmers using biotechnology for sustainable yam production. The crop is being linked to various health applications including breast cancer, hypertension, prostate cancer and diabetes.
White yam, yellow yam, sweet yam, renta yam, they all have additional benefits to your diet. But how much do you really know about the ground provision?
I sell yam because I know that yam is good for carbohydrate, and especially for children, so they have to burn their energy.
I don't know nothing about yam. I buy yam, I sell yam. I grow with my old people, I'm a 60-year-old, and I still eat yellow yam, and I see kill them.
The world's fastest man Usain Bolt and other Jamaican Olympians have attributed their success to the consumption of yam, but in West Africa they believe that their high consumption of yam is the reason for the significant rate of twinning. But Dean of the Natural and Applied Sciences Allied Health and Nursing Department at the Northern Caribbean University, Dr. Vincent Wright, says the crop is being affected by the anthracnose fungus.
And we are trying to use technology, biotechnology. We are looking at nanotechnology to see how best we can apply some of these treatment to the production of yam in some of these areas.
Yam farmers are being advised to use their phones to capture observations in the field, label and transmit them to professors to aid research and development. Robian Williams for CVM Live.
The frequent and ongoing service disruptions from telecommunications providers Flow and Digicel is having a negative effect on the business process outsourcing sector. One chief executive officer of one of the companies is appealing for the Office of Utilities Regulation to act in fixing the issue. Khadija Thomas reports.
The business process outsourcing sector is reeling from the impact of poor internet connection from telecommunication providers. Several accounts are being affected by the service disruptions, which has become so frequent that many BPO operators are calling it bad for business, as clients may take their business elsewhere.
When we have service delivery disruption, that's 2,000 people sitting, not being able to work. It's cost us, one, by having to continue to pay those people because it's not their fault why they can't work, so we still need to pay them. We don't get paid by our clients because in our service level agreements, if we're not up and able to provide the service, we can't bill them for the service. And then I think a greater cost, a lost cost is the reputational value. that I think hurts Jamaica on a whole.
Chief Executive Officer of ITEL BPO Yanni Epstein says the telecommunication providers need to invest faster in order to maintain high levels of service.
As the largest country in the Caribbean, and people look to Jamaica as to what has happened fiscally through the IMF program and how the GDP has grown and how there's so much construction jobs and hotel jobs and every sector you look on in Jamaica, it's growing. You know, to think that our telco sector could be holding things back is a big problem.
Customers have been making complaints about the service disruption, which some say have been happening for months. The impact on the BPO sector could affect the economy, as the sector is seen as a contributor to the decreasing unemployment rate in the country. Epstein believes that greater competition is needed in the telecommunication space to get current providers in line.
I think that competition is the real driver to success. Right now there is no competition, so we're going to get what we get until competition is brought back in and investments are made in order to maintain your revenue stream.
The Office of Utilities Regulation had recently noted that it was not opposed to other providers in the telecommunication space. Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.
And before we